Hello everyone, so welcome to another video. So this video we are going to discuss about CSS position. So we can have CSS positions as absolute, as relative, as fixed. So we're going to discuss all these positions with a very simple example. Okay. For this, I'm creating a simple div. I have a simple div here. Inside this, I'm going to create another div here. Let me put the closing, and let's say I'm defining a class for this class. Let me call this div1. Okay, so I'm going to define this div1 here. I'm setting some border for this border. Let's say if it is 1 pixel, solid, and green, and I'm setting a height of 50 pixel. And the width of 50 pixel. Okay, so when I save it, class equal to div1. Yeah, so let me put a background color also so that it will be visible. Let me put it as green. Okay, so there you go. So I have a div with say I have a 50 pixel height and 50 pixel width, a simple div. Okay, so let me create one more, or let me increase the width a bit more. Let me put this width as 100. Okay, so let me create another div here which says div 2. Okay, and I'm defining another set of CSS properties here. Let me define this as red, and also background color also as red. Okay, so I have two divs. This is div1 and this is div2. Okay, so next is we're going to discuss about the property, the position property. Okay, first we'll talk about the position relative. Okay, so what relative position means is, so we can adjust the position of that specific element depending relative to its original position. Okay, so relative is relative to its original position. So that means I have this div here, the red div is here. So if I want to make it like, I'm putting this position as relative, and then so it opens up a few properties for me when you put the position as relative. So it opens for me top, border, top, bottom, left and right. Okay, so I'm putting it as a top of 50 pixel. So what happens is, from its original position it adds a top 50 pixel. So remember, it's always relative to its original position. So from its original position it adds a top of 50 pixel, and if I'm adding a left of another 50 pixel, so this was the original left, and it adds a 50 pixel of left from its original position. So this is always relative to its original position. Okay, so that's all it. So next is absolute. So what is absolute is, absolute always position your element always from the top left corner of your screen. Okay, so if you put the position as absolute and top 50 pixel, left 50 pixel, so this top 50 pixel and left 50 pixel will be calculated from its top left corner of the screen, so which means from this position. Okay, so let me change this to absolute. So as you can see, what happens is it calculates the top 50 pixel from here, which is this position, and from left is 50 pixel is from here to here, this 50 pixel. So it always calculates from the top left. Okay, so that's the basic difference between an absolute and relative. Okay, so make it very simple, let me explain it again. So when you apply a position of absolute or the relative, it opens up a few properties for you, which is top, left, right, and bottom. And relative is always it's relative to its original position. So basically, if you just add few divs one by one, so it will be aligned 1 2 3 like this, right? So if you add a relative position to that, it will be always positioned based on the relative to it or its original position. The absolute means it always starts from the top left corner. Okay, so that's the difference. So that's the difference between the relative and the absolute. So next is fixed. So fixed is nothing but if you have a requirement, let's say if you have a banner which has to be displayed on the top of the screen, and then as you scroll through the screen, it has to be stay at the same position. Like that, if you have a requirement like that, you can use a fixed, but it's not a very widely used one. It's not very recommended, but it's good to have. It's good to have a good to know that there is something like that exists. So for example, if you want to show that, say if I reduce my screen and then let me add few more divs here. So if I add this, let me remove this absolute position, everything. So I have everything here, and let me add one more. So like this, you can see there is a lot of divs here. So as I scroll through, see this green is also moving, right? So let's say if you have a requirement, you want this green to be stay at the same position, and then you have to scroll the rest of the divs, right? So if that is the case, then you can always apply position as fixed. So what happens here is, oh, this is a free version, so hold on, just give me 1 second and close this. Yeah, so if you have a free if you apply the fixed position, so what happens is if you scroll through it, what will happen is let me add one more div here. So even if you scroll through it, say let's say if I'm scrolling through it, but this green one just stays there itself, it's not moving. So if I comment out this line and if I scroll it, see that is also moving. So that is a fixed. So basically, if you have a news banner or something which you want to stay on top of the screen, regardless you are scrolling through the screen, you want something to be at a fixed position, you can go with a fixed. Okay. So that's the difference between the relative, absolute, and the fixed positioning. I explained you with a very simple example, so I hope you understand. So that's all planned for this video. Hope you understand the basic concept of the position. If you did, please do subscribe to my channel and then share this video with your friends. See you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.